Welcome to the Talking Slotheads podcast with your hosts Rob DeLeon and Ted Anderson.
How you doing, Rob? It's been a little while, buddy.
It's been a while, and we kept talking about this. We were going to do another one last week and then a couple of days ago, and we just haven't gotten to it. Just been busy.
I know you've been real busy.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll all come to an end pretty soon. I had kind of a deadline that I was working with. We were talking to the realtor. We had put an offer on a house, and if that offer was accepted, then I would have approximately 2 weeks to get that house listed, to get the house that I've got listed. The offer didn't go through. And now, in retrospect, I'm kind of glad it didn't, because the house needed a lot of things that were not ideal for what I want to do. And we would have to have a garage built and all this and that. And so I'm kind of glad we didn't go that direction, but we're still gonna have to build another garage for the new house. But I think this one works a little bit better.
Yeah. And that was probably one of the first houses you looked at. And it's probably a blessing in disguise, buddy. Think about it, man. With all the stuff you got going on, you probably have 30 days to get out of your house and get, it's almost like, hey, take some time, take your time, have a little patience. You'll find the right place.
Right. And you got to look at this thing kind of more practical. Don't fall in love with the first house you see, because there's going to be a lot of houses, and especially in that area, a lot of people are moving out. I'm only assuming they're moving out because maybe we're preparing for another housing crash. I don't know. And they're trying to get out before they can, before it happens. Maybe it's an issue that we're dealing with all the insurance companies leaving California. If you guys out there don't know what's happening with California, because of the wildfires that we had a few years ago, these insurance company basically lost their asses. And because of that, they've all started to leave California. 7 out of 10 insurance companies have left California.
And the place you're trying to move to is right up in the fire danger, up in the foothills. It's beautiful up there, but it's a shame, man, that with all the regulations and laws and stuff, and hey, insurance companies got to take a hit too once in a while, and they shouldn't just bail out.
So living here in California, we have to do things that are different than other states. And like one of the things is if you own multiple vehicles like I do, a lot of times you just non-opt them, don't register them. I remember on the vehicle I'm sitting here next to, the VW Beetle, when I first had that registered in 1994, the registration was $25.
Yeah, I remember them days.
The registration is now close to $300.
Yeah, it's just hidden taxes, and they're just taking our money and they're giving it away, and we don't have a say-so in it.
No, it's ridiculous. But
so as busy as you've been, I've been pretty busy too, Rob. I've been not with Slotcars. I put a video out recently about Slotcars and Honeydews, and 2023 was one of the years that I put everything on hold for YouTube and this channel. And I would like to give a shout out to my number one supporter, and that is my wife. Without her backing me on this, I wouldn't even be doing half the stuff I did. But so I'm back to doing Honeydews, and that's where I've been for the last 5 weeks. Basically all of 2024, and that's just been taking care of mama, man. Got to make mama happy. A happy wife is a happy slot car life. That's what I say anyway.
That's what you said on your video too, and you did a pretty good job. I'm really impressed with your work that you did. It's very nice.
Yeah, well, thank you, man. Appreciate that. She's impressed too, so yeah, that's good, man. And it's just one of those things, you got to do what you got to do. It's work-life balance, or slot car life and real life balance, and that's what I've been doing, man. It's taken a lot of my time, but still got some content coming up. This weekend I think I'll have my track down, and I'm gonna do some interesting things that I've been thinking about, and of course, when I do the videos, I'll share them with all you guys. So that's where I'm at right now. What are you up to, man? I know you got something going. You're cooking something about some old school slot cars or something going on.
Yeah, that's right. I have it with me here. So in cleaning up my mom's house, she actually had a lot of the stuff that I grew up with. And I've figured that stuff has been long gone. Haven't been able to find it. And so I did come across this in its pretty rough condition. But this is actually my very, very first slot car I've ever gotten. And this was from a set. I don't know where all the parts from it went to, but I believe, let me look to see if there's a name on this thing. I don't know if this was Eldon or what.
But ooh, Eldon.
That was my first slot car. We're missing the front axle. I did a video maybe a year ago or so showing the set that this came with. It came with 2 dune buggies, came with this one here, and it came with a green one. They had little
That
hippie
is
flowers,
nice.
little hippie flowers on it. And I've seen these on eBay, the sets on eBay, and they're all complete. And I've been thinking about getting that set just to have that original slot car set back in there, but it's pretty beat up. It's really beat up, and I don't know where the parts are all at for it, but that was my first slot car set, and I believe it was a figure 8 track. And so when I came across this, it just kind of, you see something and you haven't seen it since you were maybe 5 years old, and it brings back all these memories, and you start.
Oh yeah, got you on that.
The motor's missing from it. Who knows where the motor went?
I had a dune buggy like that when I was real young, and it was a gas-powered Cox car. You remember those?
Yes, I do remember those.
And it was a dune buggy, and it was like a metal flake cranberry or metal flake red, and just that reminded me of it. The old Cox cars, you had to crank that wheel to get that engine running, and those things would they had little steering points. You could either go in a radius or you can go straight, but those things would just take off full throttle, man. That was a blast. That's what that reminded me of.
My dad had 2 of those, not the dune buggies. Those cars, I remember his cars, they were meant to drive on a control line. And so you'd string up a string from one end of the parking lot to the other end. I don't know how you would tie it off, but you'd have the string just a little bit above the surface of the ground, and that string would run right through the center of that chassis.
Right, I remember that.
Like an old Cox 49 in the back there.
Yeah.
So he had these 2 sort of metallic blue 65 Fastback Mustangs. I still remember what they looked like. One was battery powered, and one was nitro powered. So the nitro powered had the little Cox in there, and you would put the gas in, and you'd put the glow lighter on there, and then you'd spin that wheel and get that thing going.
Yep.
Set it down, and the thing would just haul across the parking lot.
3 Mustang GT hardtops are fighting for position, going into the last laps of the race. Here comes the lead Mustang into its final pit stop. Simulated V8 engine, check. Steering, check. Headlights, check. Taillights, check. Reverse, check. Batteries, check. Let her rip. Looks like the Mustang on the inside has it. And it's over. The motorized Mustang GT wins again. This 16-inch motorized Mustang by AMF is yours for $495. Now everyone can have a battery-operated Mustang GT for Christmas. They're available only at your Ford dealers for $495. And at some additional cost, there's this gas engine Mustang. Get a motorized Mustang for $495 only at your Ford dealers, or $6 delivered to your home. And at your Ford dealers, see America's fastest-selling fun car, Mustang.
And
I had a dragster, and it was I think it was a Snake, Don Prudhomme, or the Snake dragster that ran on a line just like you're talking about. And it was my brother's, and he ran it on a line about. Well, of course we didn't think how far it would go on a little bit of gas that you put in them. And the damn thing, the first run, man, we started it off, got it running. I think we went about 30 feet, if that, with the line. And it came to the end of that line, and it was nailed into, like the expansion joint of the sidewalk.
Okay.
And it just obliterated that car, man. On its first run, dude, it was blown up. Parts flew everywhere, and
So you needed to run the line a little longer than you're saying.
yeah, we didn't know. My dad wasn't there with us. We just, this is long enough. We had no idea what it was gonna do, man. It just took off, and it screamed, boy.
And you had no way to really stop those. They once you started them, they went until the nitro fuel ran out.
Exactly, that was it, and it's definitely longer than 30 feet. I'll tell you that on those things. So, yeah, we probably should have ran 100 feet to be safe, but live and learn.
Now, have you ever seen and I know there's 2 facilities down south. One is in Whittier at the Lake facility. There's a RC flying field over there. And then there's also these tracks, and they're circular cement tracks. And in the center, you have a rotating pivot. I don't know if somebody controls that, but you put the car on the control line, and then somebody pushes they get the motor fired up, they push the car, and the car will literally go so fast that it becomes invisible, and they will time the car.
No kidding.
And these cars will go like, I don't know, 100, 200 miles an hour. And they're just speeding around there. Look it up on the internet if you want to see what that looks like. But back to slot cars.
Yeah, I did a video last summer when I made that trip to my brother's house, and I have a 4J series early 60s model. The model I got is not a model, it's a slot car, and it was the Christmas after we got our Revo set. It was Eldon, and it came the year after we had our set, so this was like an add-on car to the Revo set, and I have it. I got it from my brother last summer, and he has the original chassis, which he's going to send me soon. And it's a plastic chassis, but it's adjustable in length. It was really, really nice, man. When I get it, I'm gonna restore this car, but I need to find out more information on it. Rob, I'm gonna pull my camera. I'm gonna show everybody who wants to see it. It's a really beautiful car. I can't find this particular model of this car anywhere on the internet. I see 4Js, early 60s 4Js, but this one has a very square body. If you look at the tail end, very square. The intakes, the air intakes along the back of the canopy there, everything is squared off, but everything I've seen on the internet is a lot more rounded right here on the fenders. And I don't know if this is Eldon's design, or if this was actually an early test vehicle in the early 60s when the 4J started, well before it eventually became the GT40. And of course, there's probably a Ken Miles story in here too. But this one here, I'm going to restore this, and the body's in immaculate condition, and the glass and canopy is perfect on it. I'm going to do it up. I'm going to put the blue stripe on it. Carroll Shelby, probably something like that. I'll kind of do a little bit of my own on it, but when I get that chassis, I'm going to go ahead and get this thing running. What do you think about that? I mean, isn't that a pretty car?
It's in great condition. I just had this idea. I've been looking into getting some sort of apparatus, a camera that will scan 3D and scan an actual, model body. If it can scan it clean enough, I can print from it.
Yeah, that's going to be neat.
Yeah, if it can't scan clean enough, then I'd have to go in and do some modification. Now, that's the thing. I hesitate saying what I'm going to do and what I want to do, because what I want to do hasn't happened. I've just been so busy. But I feel like once this is all over and we've gotten the other house up for sale, and then we get this house up for sale, I get into the other facility, maybe with a little bit more room, I'm going to hopefully have some time to start really testing the limits of this printer.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I was looking at a company that reproduces RC models in 1/10 scale, and you can buy the file off them, and that file will include everything you need, minus a servo, the motor, obviously, and the tires. But the kit that they will sell you for, pennies on the dollar, compared to the real model, it's completely printable. And the printer that I have, I saw one of the prints coming off of it, and it looks absolutely beautiful, man. I couldn't believe how detailed that model was, and everything in it. It's fully functional, drives like a regular RC car. I don't know how resistant it would be to cracking, like let's say if you got into a crash, because obviously most of the RC cars these days, run Lexan bodies, because you do crash and stuff.
Right.
But back in the old days when we were driving the old Tamiya's, those all had ABS plastic bodies, and you just learn to drive them a little bit differently, because if you did crash them, they do break.
Yeah. I think this is what kind of plastic did you just say?
So that's probably styrene, I'm gonna guess.
Yeah, I think this is probably polystyrene, but it's very thick. It's very thick, and a good hit will crack it, but
yeah,
there's not a lot of weight behind these, so unless it flies off your table and hits the concrete, you probably won't crack it. But it's a sturdy body, and I love it. It's like the old cars. It's just like the old cars that they used to make. They made them out of 12 gauge steel, sheet metal, or 14 gauge sheet metal versus the 28 gauge they use now, which you lean on a car down and you can you leave a dent in it when you pop off.
But imagine that body being able to be reproduced so you can keep the original pristine, reproduce it in PLA or, whatever other kind of plastic that's available.
Right.
And having it come back to light. It's a 60s car, right? So, literally like 60 years later, and you can put it on the track and not have to worry about crashing it.
No, that's what a 3D printing, man. That's what it's going to be. You can have a spare body.
I've also entertained the idea, and I don't know if I want to really get into this because this is a whole nother thing, but I was thinking about, it's kind of expensive too. I was thinking about the possibility of getting a vacuum form machine so that I could take a body like that and vacuum form it into Lexan.
Lexan, yeah, which is very light, very durable.
Very light, very durable, and
Yes.
you'll get some pretty good detail out of it. I have some Lexan bodies here somewhere in 1/24th scale, and they don't look bad. People are kind of shying away from that stuff right now in the scale world of RC because they want to go with the hard body stuff, but the Lexan stuff is just fine.
Yeah, lightweight.
For racing, it's great for racing.
What shirt you got on? Star Wars.
This is a Star Wars shirt.
Oh, nice. Yep, I'm a Star Wars fan, man. I got the whole series, man, all the movies, and been watching some of the the TV shows, the spin-offs and all that, man. I love Star Wars. It's good stuff, man.
Yeah, I've been trying to get into the I finished the Obi-Wan Kenobi one a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
There's a new one that came out, and I've started watching it, but I just haven't had time to get into it. Yeah, I like the old school stuff, but I know that you have to sort of allow yourself to continue on, get into the new stuff if you want to continue living that storyline. Yeah, so I'm going to start watching that one pretty soon, the new one that's out there now. And I don't know what else is coming up next, but I know there's at least one I haven't seen yet. What I was going to tell you is there's a car that I got sitting right here. This was a car that came out a little while ago. Let me see if I'll just kind of show it here for now. So this was the Ken Block Hyundai.
Okay, you mentioned him before.
Yeah, and this was the one that there was a few left from, I guess, one of the last runs they had. As soon as Ken Block passed away, and I was just a fan of his driving style, and I kind of was a fan of all the stuff that he was doing with the drifting and the Hoonigan stuff and the Mustang and that Porsche that I don't think he ever got to run the Porsche. I think his daughter's going to run that Porsche now, the Pikes Peak car.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Monster Energy.
Yeah, I wish they did more Monster Energy stuff. That's my favorite livery, but it's not really done very widely. But so that's a car I'm going to get on the road at some point. It's still in the package because I haven't had time to run anything.
Right. You turned me on to that link with Ken Block. I hadn't heard of him. I mean, forgive me if I hadn't heard of Ken Block, but yeah, Rob turned me on to the link on YouTube, and I watched that thing, and that guy is a masterful driver. That guy knows how to drive. He's a stunt guy. The guy could drift around a nickel. I mean, this guy is something else. And what a great video that was, man. Ken Block, yeah.
Yeah.
Legend right there.
Are there any cars that are coming out and we talked about this, I think, on the last podcast. Are there any cars that you've seen on any of the news channels that you're really looking forward to?
I'll tell you the car I really like. That's the newest car out right now from Revo. Is that the 510? But the problem is, it's a beautiful car, and there's been some very, very beautiful, very, very nice videos done on that in the last week or so. And the problem is, Scale Electric hasn't come out with it. And you know me, I'm a Scale Electrics guy.
Yeah.
And if they ever come out with that 510 or anything close to it, I'm gonna get it for sure. But I'm not gonna get a Revo. I'm sticking with Scale Electric. You know me. I probably say this last 2 times we've done a podcast, but yeah, I thought that 510 is a beautiful car, man. All 3 of them that they came out with, absolutely love them.
I have one coming. I talked to 132 Slotcar today, and I was talking to Alan, and I told him hold off on sending mine out. I'm going to wait until next week because I've got so many things going on. I don't want it to show up at the post box and then get stolen out of there, because we have a situation over here where we have a community mailbox. So when stuff gets sent out, and you can't get that item during the day and you leave it overnight, it's a 50-50 chance whether it's going to be there in the morning.
That's sick. That's just absolutely crazy.
It's a deal where the mailbox has one master key, and then the whole lid of the mailbox comes down, and you have access to like 40 addresses right there.
Right. Yeah.
And so what they were doing is on a nightly basis, they were removing the lid, and in the morning you get to the mailbox and it's open and everything's gone. And so, oh my gosh, I had lost so many things. And funny thing, well, not funny, well, funny now, it wasn't funny when it happened. I had bought an exclusive Datsun 510 Hot Wheel that I think I had paid about $35 for. This was a few years ago. They had sent it to me and it was in that mailbox that night. I guess it arrived late that day and I didn't get a chance to get to the mail. And this was kind of the very beginning when they started breaking into those boxes. And so I got to the mail early the next morning, and it was, of course, the mailbox lid was down and everything was stolen out of there. I contacted Mattel and I said, hey, I don't have my 510. You guys sent it, and can I get another one? No, those are sold out. And so I look on eBay, $200 if you want another one.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah, this just gotten ridiculous, man. I mean, there's so much personal information that comes into your mail, you know, whether it's at your home or a community box, and to have it stolen, it's just, you know, your ID can be stolen. You could have a refund check, or you can have all, you know, there's all kinds of personal information that's just, you know, these guys that do this, yeah, they get a slap on the hand. I'd probably cut their hand off so they don't do it again. But you know, an eye for an eye, you know, because it's gotten to the point it's out of hand, man. It's like you said, it's becoming a nightly basis. There's got to be some consequences, man. And I don't see anything happening in California as far as any punishment, except for us law-abiding citizens that get punished with new laws on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I won't go into what those new laws are because this is a Slotcar channel, so we'll leave it at that.
My thing is I'm looking at my track, which is the table is 6 feet by 12 feet. And I would like to have it where I have access all the way around. Right now, the access is through the front side, is like you can see right there. I can get from side to side, but I don't really have access to the back of it because I got it pressed up against the wall. It would sure be nice to have it so I could have full access to it, not only just to do some marshaling on the backside, but also so I can finish the landscape.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm trying to decide if this track is going to come into the garage when we move into the new house, or if I'm going to have to build a shed. Obviously not as big as, let's say, what Travis, that Slotcar guy has, but you know, something maybe in the way of like a 3-car size shed. Put that in there. And you're kind of up in that area too. What is it like? Here it's a nightmare. Here it's in my garage in the summer, it'll be 115 degrees in here. Almost impossible to like even think straight when you're here playing with your slot cars. What is it like in your garage, in your area?
It gets hot, Rob. We're no different. We're 70 miles apart, and the heat is heat. Luckily, it's a dry heat. I've had no issues with my Slotcar track in the heat. The issue I have is just being out here, you know, running my cars or racing when it's hot out. I do run a fan in here, you know, just to keep the air circulating. But I haven't had any issues, man, since I did the copper tape on my track as far as connection issues. Because, well, yours is out in the garage too, you know, year round. Mine is also, and I don't know if it's just the connection points on a scale electric track versus a Carrera, but the scale electric track expands and contracts, and I don't think the joints are really the greatest, you know, for a plastic track. So I get movement, and I was losing connectivity, but yeah, the heat, the cold, my track is definitely surviving right now, you know, and the copper tape took care of my issues I had. But yeah, it's, you know, back to your question, the heat is unbearable at times, you know, where right now is the time to be racing. Right now it's cool out here, and I got my heater going, but it's the valley. It's hot.
Yeah. I was talking to Joe earlier today, and he's been snowed in for like the last week. The snow is starting to melt finally. I think it's going to rain on Saturday, so he might get snowed in again. But he refuses to put his track out in the garage because he tells me at times it's like 20 degrees out there. And I said, well, put a heater out there, put a space heater or something. He's like, nah, it's just not worth it. So he's going to try to set something up in his house. And then he doesn't want to even leave the property because of where he's at. When the snow starts to melt, then he gets to deal with the mud. He wants to go ride his bike out there. And he's like, I just washed it up and polished everything up. I don't want to go and get it all full of mud, just after.
Oh, that's no excuse, man. When you got a Harley, man, it's gonna get dirty. You gotta ride it. You can't have any shelf queens, man. There's no Harley shelf queens.
Like, why we got to wash our bikes before we take them out for a ride?
Well, that's almost a must, man. You got to have it nice and shiny when you leave the house, and then you get home and then you wash it again next time you go for a ride. But
yeah,
I get his point, because he gets socked in with snow and then the melt, and I mean he literally gets probably a lot of mud and dirt on his bike, and washing a motorcycle's not fun.
No, it's not.
When they get that dirty. So
I just wipe mine down. I don't think I put a water hose on it yet. I just wipe it down because it's all flat. It's flat black. It's not gonna, it just gets dusty. That's about it.
Yeah. You got a nice bike too, by the way, man. I like it.
I'm kind of looking at another bike too.
I don't know. You're looking at a cruiser, huh? You're looking at a Glide or something like that.
I've been a big fan of the Road King, the new Road King.
Road Kings are nice, definitely. Yeah.
But the wife's telling me, she goes, I'd like to go on some rides with you. I said, I don't know if I want to be able to ride a 900-pound bike with a wife on the back of it. My legs aren't as strong as they used to be when I was in my 20s. Yeah. I don't know. I might be looking at like a Road King style trike or something like that. But if I don't, man, I love those breakouts. Those breakouts are nice.
Yeah.
But those breakouts are really sweet looking.
No, it's fun riding, man. If your wife wants to go for a ride, get another bike. See, because you got a bike that you take your lady on, nice and comfortable for her. Then you got your bar hopper, right? That's what you got now, bar hopper. I haven't really ridden in a while. It's just, my wife, we rode a lot together, and she kind of got out of it, and then slowly but surely I got out of it. Still got my bike though. I'm not going to sell it or anything. In fact, I'm getting the itch to get out and ride it again. So, and mine's an 07 Street Glide. I'm ready to start getting it out there.
I'll tell you what, when I get up into that area, I'm probably going to be about 45 minutes away from that Fresno scene, because they got a swap meet out there and this and that. So I told Joe about the whole issue with all the new cars coming out, and he told me that he received a couple of cars from Electric Dreams that he ordered like months ago, and so they just sent them to him. He likes the MRRC stuff, so I think he got like another Cheetah, and he got, I think, another Batmobile or something like that. He's going to head down there this weekend, and I said, well, I can't go, I'm going to be gone, but he's going to head down there and go do some racing. I said, we need to go down there and do some racing again before I leave the area, because once I leave, man, it's going to be a long drive.
Yeah, but no, yeah, we got to do that again while the weather's nice too. While it's cool, and it's not hot outside, and it'd be a good fun weekend trip, man. We got to do it, man. That was fun when we went that one time. I had a great time.
And maybe if I get a place big enough, maybe I can get myself a wood track. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, mine's wood with a plastic track on it.
What I think I'm going to do, because I have two control units, I think I want to build a 124 scale drag strip, something that will just run the length of the garage, and put that on its own separate table and stuff. So I'll have an HO drag strip and a 124 scale drag strip.
Yeah, no, that's going to be cool, man. In fact, you got the room now. Well, you probably don't have the time, but you have the room now to do a scale HO drag strip in your garage.
Yeah.
Or in your driveway, if you really wanted to get out there in your driveway and just run the shit out of them.
I can't be on the floor anymore. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, that's why I got mine off the floor too. The last few years, I was on the floor chasing these cars around, man. And, I'm not going to be doing that anymore. And you know why, right? I'm a slot car racer. I'm not a slot car chaser. So I keep them elevated now. And my track is 4 foot wide. It's 16 feet long and 15 and a half feet long. So, and it's all got high guardrails on the helix. So my cars don't fly off the platform anymore, so I can reach everywhere. And it's all about high speed for me, man. High speed, 25 laps. We usually do we're doing 3.5 to 4 second laps, depending upon who's racing. So it doesn't take that long to go through 25 laps and a pit stop. So,
Right.
yeah, I'm off the floor, buddy. No more of that floor stuff. I hear you.
Yeah. I was gonna say, every time you say that, I'm a slot car racer. You need to go like trademark.
I think we're gonna do a T-shirt, but I'll throw a logo down at the bottom.
I have some ideas that I'm going to discuss with you pretty soon. I'll leave it at that. I got some ideas of something I want to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And we'll talk about it pretty soon. I just got to get the time to do it, and it might not happen for a couple of months, but the gears are turning in here, you know?
Yeah, they always are, man.
Yeah.
They always are.
So we're coming to the end of the podcast here. Is there anything else you'd like to add to it?
Hey, fellas, man, I got to tell you, I waited to the end of this podcast, but I got to tell everybody out there who has subscribed and watched my channel, I appreciate you guys so much, man. It's beyond whatever thought I would accomplish in 2023 and into 2024. I've hit 400 plus subscribers now, and my intent was just a digital video library for my descendants, years down the road. But I'm grateful. Fun, man.
There you go.
Thank you for supporting the Slotcar Daddy channel. You guys are great.
And with that said, this is Rob DeLeon with the Talking Slot Heads podcast. I'm here with
Ted Anderson, Slotcar Daddy channel.
All right, guys. Bye for now. We will talk to you later.
All right. Adios, Robert. We'll be in touch, man. Keep those gears going, huh? Keep the gears turning.
Okay. Talk to you later. Bye for now.
The Talking Slot Heads podcast is available on both the De Leon Slot Car Raceway channel and the Slotcar Daddy channel. Please like and subscribe.